right, so we're getting ready. Al killed his first pig the other night with bow and arrow, as hopefully you guys were able to see. If not, check out that hunt on our Facebook page. But we got a wild boar, hind quarter. Hopefully you can see. I mean, that's some great looking meat. This was a younger boar, probably a three or 4 year old, probably 3. And got a little bit of hair, so we usually use like a microfiber or a terry cloth such as this to get some of this hair off before we start cutting. And we're getting ready to render this into family size portions. So without further ado, we're going to demonstrate that right now. Basically, get yourself a good stout cutting board, and we're going to come in. This would be the knee on the hog, so we're going to come in right behind the knee and plunge all the way to the bone. I'm sitting on the bone right now, and now we're coming all the way up to the pelvis bone. And now we're gonna turn the corner and come up and out. So that right there is where your pork chops are gonna come from. We're gonna cut those from the top about 3/4 to an inch thick. This is your pork chops right here. And over here, if you want a pork butt or a pork roast, or we could chop this. It's whatever the consumer wants at the end of the day. So that's basically your hind quarter breakdown in a nutshell. So we're gonna place that over there. So here's how we do the other half. We're gonna come right down the pelvic bone. And then as soon as we hit our bone, we don't wanna saw. That's how you erode the edge. I plunge my coho fillet knife right there, and then just simply, I'll spin this around so we can see. We're gonna come in right here on the bone with the tip of our knife. That's why I like to use a semi-flexible but not too flimsy fillet knife such as this. And this, if I haven't mentioned, so it's an Alaska, Knives of Alaska coho fillet knife. It's by far my favorite tool for deboning meat and cutting steaks. So you can see we're down to the leg bone, getting all that good premium flesh off of there. And right there we go. Come right in here behind the kneecap, cut through that. And so basically this would be kind of like your Boston butt right there. You can crock pot that, call it pulled pork, whatever you want. That will be delicious. So there's a hind quarter breakdown, and really that's it, folks. It's that simple. As far as deboning a hind quarter on a hog or a deer, you would do it the same way on a deer. And if you wanted more chops and something to put in a crock pot, then you would simply cut down, and we'll go ahead and demonstrate that here in just a sec.
Now this one over here, you can throw it in the sink if you just want to get rid of it for a minute. Get it
Just for a minute. We got a lot of trimming to do. This is the excess here.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna get all this meat off, and we're gonna put that in a grind bag so we can use that later for sausage, since this is a pig. So for deer, it would be sausage as well, or stew meat, or you know, whatever you and your family enjoy. That's what you do.
Yes, sir.
So this fat thing with wild boar, you want to get all this white fat off. Now there's a couple ways of doing it. Another trick that I normally do, we don't have that luxury today, is to make these easier to cut. You can see this is kind of flimsy. If you partially freeze these quarters before you start the cutting process, it makes it so much easier to get a more consistent thickness of the cut. So that's just a trick. If you have an excess freezer in your garage, or you're fortunate enough to have a walk-in cooler, you can do so. But today we're coming right out of the cooler and we're processing meat, because you do not want to age pork or bear meat. But right there, folks, as you can see, that is a beautiful, I'm gonna get a little bit of that bloodshot meat off, but what a beautiful little pork chop right there. That's ready for the grease or ready for the grill. Now we're gonna make them a little bit thicker as we go. But I mean, you can't get this at Walmart or the grocery store. We went out and got it ourselves out of the tree stand.
I have the pictures to prove it.
With a bow and arrow. But look at that. I mean, there's a man-sized pork chop And I mean, look how much time has elapsed. Not much. We're rocking and rolling. And this is a little bit more difficult to keep consistent because of, you know, it's not partially frozen, but we're doing okay. Not bad for a couple greenhorns, right, Al?
Yes, sir.
All right, so yeah, I mean, it's really that simple, you know. And then take these and put them in your vacuum sealer. How many to a pack, that's up to you. But yeah, there's 4 beautiful pork chops ready to rock. We're coming on down the pipe. So, you know, 150-pound boar yields a pretty good amount of meat for your family. And the rest, once you get down to where it skinnies out, you'll start seeing it gets more and more difficult. So basically, once you get down in here, you can cut all these pieces up and just chunk them and get them ready for your grinder. If you don't have a grinder, you can take it to your local processor and they can add, you know, bacon or whatever kind of fat for extra bound, because these wild pigs are a lot more lean than the domestic hog. So this stuff here, chunk it up and then vacuum seal it, label it, grind, and then take it to your processor to have sausage or whatever you want made.
So between while you're cutting on the cutting board and you got you some vacuum seal bags, would you ever consider freezing what you were going to grind?
Yes, absolutely. You
Okay.
can go ahead and freeze that. Like this, for example, the way I do it, as I'm cutting during the season, my scrap
Yeah.
that I know I'm going to grind later, I do longer bags so I can pack it in. You know, probably put 8 to 10 pounds of grind and then freeze that. And then at the end of the season, I take all my grind to a local processor that I have a good relationship with, and they turn it into hamburger or sausage, whatever I choose. Summer sausage, you know, the sky's the limit. So, but here you have, I mean, that was just that top round, I call it, off that hog, and it's yielded some pretty good size pork loins for you, or pork steaks. All right. Any other questions?
I'll tell you what, here's a good question.
Yes, sir.
So let's say we're in the woods, we just killed us a boar, we just got done quartering everything, we got, of course, field dress, just got done quartering it.
Okay.
How long would you consider leaving that meat on ice before you went ahead and processed everything and got it in the refrigerator? What is your optimal timelines between, okay, I made the call that I'm gonna have to freeze this?
For wild hog and black bear, you don't want to age pork or bear meat. Unlike venison, we can let that hang at 38 degrees for up to 3 or 4 weeks to let that meat age. Hogs and bears are so fatty. The first thing that'll turn on a hog is this right here, that fat. And of course you can see that's in between some really, really good pieces of meat. That they're so fatty that all that right there will turn rancid if you leave it in a cooler too long.
Got it.
Then you're gonna lose your meat. So you do not age pork or bear meat. So to answer that question, I'd say no more. You don't want that meat in the cooler more than 2 days.
Okay.
You know, be ready and be prepared to cut that meat on day 3 at the latest.
Okay,
Here we
so
are, the day after, pretty
Yeah.
much.
So we're cutting this meat now. It's been a day in the cooler. How long would you feel comfortable leaving this in the refrigerator before you decided to freeze? Now we've been 24 hours
Sure,
already.
Sure. I would say you're good for at least fresh cut meat like this. I mean, it just came off the pig that was walking 2 days ago.
Yes, sir.
So you'd be fine for a week and a half.
Okay.
You know, in the fridge. Like, let's say you wanted to, hey, I want to try some of this stuff. This is my first kill, my first bow kill. I want to try some boar meat. You know, put it in cellophane, put it in the fridge, or put it in a Ziploc. It's good to go for at least 3 to 5 days before you make up your mind to freeze it or whatnot.
Good deal.
So, yep.
All right.
Any other questions, my friend?
I think that's it for now.
Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Y'all have a blessed day.
Yes, sir.